Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. We are from Group D of Group 4 from TBI class in biology, and last university. We will discuss about biomaterial and the structure of the biomolecules. And this presentation will present by my my partner Aisha Aswandi and Farhanatu Ilmi and myself Muhammad Fawzan and my partner too, Srifina Ferry Rahayu. Okay, for this presentation, we will utilize the cheese as a biomaterial and as material to examine the metabolic product of the one organism, namely cow. We study cheese as our material of choice because it contains a variety of biomolecules, including protein, such as casein, lactoglobin, and lactoalbumin, which is a polymer, biopolymer, lipids such as triglyceride, and carbohydrates such as lactose and very other, which mean the carbohydrates as a polysaccharide. Okay, the protein will be presentation by my partner, Spena Ferrahayu. Time and place is yours.
The protein in cheese mainly consists of casein and whey protein. Casein is the main protein in milk and cheese. Casein are a family of phosphoprotein consisting of alpha, alpha, alpha casein, uh, beta lactoglobulin, and alpha lactalbumin. The official IUPAC name for casein is very complex and it involves a long amino acid sequence. For example, kasein adalah keluarga fosfoprotein yang terdiri dari alfa kasein dan beta lactoglobulin dan alfa lactalbumin. Di mana di sini tuh dia melibatkan urutan asam amino yang panjang. Yang alfa kasein, UPAC name amino acid sequence, biasanya terdiri dari ratusan asam amino, dan penamaan akan mengikuti urutan serta posisi asam amino spesifik yang terdapat dalam protein tersebut. And whey protein. Whey protein ini tuh terdiri dari berbagai protein termasuk beta lactoglobulin dan alpha lactalbumin. Beta lactoglobulin, nama IUPAC-nya itu adalah amino acid sequence of beta lactoglobulin, and alpha lactalbumin, IUPAC name amino acid sequence of alpha lactalbumin. Next. Next topic is chemical structure of protein biomolecules in cheese. Disease have four structure from protein in cheese. The first is primary structure. The characteristic of primary structure is first a long chain of amino acids connected by peptides bonds, di mana polipeptida ini terdiri dari panjang asam amino yang dihubungkan oleh ikatan peptida. This sequence of amino acids is unique to each type of protein and determines its properties. And casein contains about 200 amino acids, with the amino acid composition varying depending on the type of milk used. And this is the structure of the picture. And next is secondary structure. Secondary structure have the characteristic first localized structure of the polypeptide chains, such as alpha helix and beta sheet. These structure are formed by hydrogen bonds between atoms in the polypeptide chain. And the last, the secondary structure of casein is dominated by alpha helix. Next. The third is tertiary structure. The characteristic is the unique three-dimensional shape of a protein, and this structure is formed by interaction between various secondary structure, such as hydrogen bonds and van der Waals bonds and ionic bonds. And the last, the tertiary structure of casein is globular, with a hydrophobic part of the inside and hydrophilic part on the outside. This is the picture. And the last is quaternary structure. The characteristic is aggregation of multiple protein subunit into large structures. The quaternary structure of casein is not always present and may vary different depending on environmental conditions. And the last in milk, casein from micelles, which are protein aggregates consisting of hundreds or even thousands of subunit. Next, the bonding and interaction in casein. The first is peptide bond between amino acid. A peptide bond is a covalent bond formed between the carboxyl group of one amino acid and the amino group of the next amino acid. Di mana ikatan peptida itu adalah ikatan kovalen yang terbentuk antara gugus karboksil COOH dari satu asam amino dengan gugus amino NH2 dari asam amino berikutnya. Ikatan ini tuh menghubungkan asam amino menjadi rantai polipeptida. The next is hydrogen bonds form secondary structure. Hydrogen bonds are formed between carbonyl groups CO and amide groups NH and 2H of different amino acids in the polypeptide chains. Ikatan hidrogen ini tuh terbentuk antara gugus karbonil CO rantai ganda dan gugus amida NH dari asam amino yang berbeda dalam rantai polipeptida. Ini membentuk struktur sekunder seperti helix alpha dan lembaran beta. And the next is hydrophobic interaction. Disulfide bonds and ionic bonds form tertiary structure. The first is hydrophobic interaction. The hydrophobic or nonpolar parts of the casein molecule tends to approach each other to avoid water. And disulfide bonds, a covalent bond formed between two thiol groups of cysteine residues. And the last, ionic bonds formed between positively charged groups such as amino groups and negatively charged groups such as carboxyl groups in casein molecules. Di mana interaksi hidrofobik, ikatan disulfida, dan ikatan ion itu tuh membentuk struktur tersier. Yang pertama itu interaksi hidrofobik, di mana bagian hidrofobik ini tuh nonpolar dari molekul casein cenderung dia tuh mendekati satu sama lain di dalam struktur protein atau menghindari kontak dengan air. Lalu untuk ikatan disulfida, ini tuh ikatan kovalen yang terbentuk antara dua gugus tiol SH dari residu sistein dan memberikan stabilitas tambahan. Lalu yang terakhir itu adalah ikatan ionik, yaitu terbentuk antara gugus bermuatan positif seperti gugus amino dan gugus bermuatan negatif seperti gugus karboksil. Next. And the last is interaction between subunit for quaternary structure. Casein in milk and cheese is not present as single molecules, but as aggregates called casein micelles. Jadi kasein dalam susu dan keju itu membentuk agregat yang disebut misel kasein. Nah, Misal ini tuh terdiri dari beberapa subunit kasein yang berinteraksi melalui ikatan non-kovalen seperti ikatan hidrogen, ikatan ionik, dan interaksi hidrofobik. Nah, ion kalsium juga membantu mengikat subunit kasein itu dalam misal, menambah stabilitasnya. Seperti pada struktur pada gambar, di mana di sini itu ikatan peptida itu menunjukkan bagaimana asam amino itu dihubungkan oleh ikatan peptida dalam rantai polipeptida. Lalu untuk ikatan hidrogen itu menunjukkan pembentukan struktur sekunder melalui ikatan hidrogen. Lalu struktur tersier itu menunjukkan bagaimana interaksi hidrofobik, ikatan disulfida, dan ikatan ionik berkontribusi pada pembentukan tersier. Lalu struktur kuartoner itu menunjukkan misal kasein yang terdiri dari subunit kasein yang dihubungkan oleh berbagai interaksi dan ion kalsium. Next, kasein konstituen monomers. Kasein adalah protein utama dalam susu tadi kan, yang terdiri dari berbagai subunit polipeptida. Nah, subunit ini tuh adalah monomer yang disebut asam amino. Nah, terdapat 4 jenis utama kasein dalam susu sapi. Lalu, masing-masing memiliki urutan asam amino yang berbeda, tapi semuanya berfungsi sebagai pembangun protein kasein itu. Berikut adalah monomer penyusunnya. Yang pertama itu ada casein is composed of various amino acids. Casein is a type of protein that is made up of long chains of amino acid connected through peptide bonds, di mana asam amino itu adalah monomer penyusun protein termasuk kasein. Lalu here are some of the main amino acid that make up casein. The first is lysine. Lysine is an essential amino acid that cannot be produced by the human body and must be obtained through food. Lysine has side chains that are positively charged at physiological pH, which allows it to participate in ionic bonding and play an important role in various biological functions. Next. The next is proline. Proline is a unique amino acid in its side chain from a right ring that connects back to the amino groups, creating a sharp bend in the polypeptide chain. The structure makes proline play an important role in determining the secondary and tertiary structure of protein, giving it a certain flexibility. As you can see the picture, and the glutamic acid, GLU or E. Glutamic acid is an amino acid that has negatively charged side chains at physiological pH. This allows it to participate in ionic bonding and plays an important role in the interaction between proteins and the stabilization of protein structures. As you can see the picture. Next. The next is amino acid sequence and type determine protein function and structure. F4, the first is amino acid sequence. The linear sequence determines the folding of the proteins. Secondary structure formed by hydrogen bonds. Tertiary structure given by side chain interaction, and quaternary structure aggregation of multiple protein unit. Sebelumnya udah kita bahas yang ini. The next. The next is the natural function of these proteins for cheese. The first is structures and texture. Micelle formation, a casein micelle is a spherical aggregate of casein molecules held together by calcium phosphate. And nutritional value, essential amino acids casein provide all the essential amino acid required by the human body, making it a complete protein source. And the next is functional properties. Casein can act as an emulsifier, helping to stabilize fat and water mixture. And flavor development. Proteolysis enzyme break down casein into smaller peptides and amino acids, which contribute to the complex flavor of mature cheese. And the last is digestibility. Enzyme used in cheese production partially break down proteins, making them easier to digesting. Structure and texture tadi itu, di mana yang pertama micelle formation, a casein micelle is a spherical aggregate of casein molecules held together by calcium phosphate. Di sini itu misel ini stabil dalam susu dan mencegah kasein itu untuk mengendap. Nah, dalam proses pembuatan keju, misel ini akan menggumpal, membentuk matriks yang menangkap lemak dan air, sehingga dia tuh menghasilkan struktur padat keju. Lalu nutritional value itu ada essential amino acid, di mana di sini tuh kasein itu menyediakan semua asam amino esensial yang diperlukan oleh tubuh manusia, yang menjadikannya sumber protein yang lengkap. Nah, ini tuh termasuk asam amino seperti yang udah saya sebutkan tuh lisin, leusin, dan triptofan. Terus untuk pengembangan rasa itu flavor, di mana itu proteolysis, the flavor development, itu enzimnya itu memecah kasein itu menjadi peptida dan asam amino yang lebih kecil. Lalu dia itu berkontribusi pada rasa kompleks keju yang udah matang. Nah, proses ini tuh penting untuk pengembangan rasa khas dalam berbagai jenis keju. Lalu untuk digestibility, itu enzim yang digunakan dalam produksi keju itu sebagian memecah protein dan membuatnya itu lebih mudah dicerna. Nah, ini tuh sangat bermanfaat bagi individu dengan sistem pencernaan yang sensitif. Dan last is functional properties, di mana itu tuh kasein dapat bertindak sebagai pengemulsi. Dia juga membantu untuk menstabilkan campuran lemak dan air. Nah, kasein ini juga mengikat air yang mempengaruhi tekstur dan sifat meleleh keju itu, seperti keju yang melting. Oke, next. The last is human utilization of casein. The first is protein supplements. Human utilization of casein, yaitu adalah yang pertama protein supplements. Casein is often used in powder form as a protein supplement for athletes and individuals looking to increase their protein intake. And the next is food product. Casein is used in various food products such as cheese, yogurt, and milk. And the next is glue and adhesive. Casein is used as a base material in the manufacture of strong water-resistant glue and adhesive. And coating and paints. Casein is used in coatings and paints for its ability to form a strong and durable film. And the next is one dressings. One dressing, casein is used in several types of it bonds dressings due to its biocompatibility and ability to accelerate wound healing. And special nutritional use, casein is used in special food formulas for infants and people with specific nutritional needs. And the next is skincare products. Casein is added into skincare products such as creams and lotions. And the last, hair care products. Casein is used in hair care products such as shampoo and conditioners to strengthen and nourish hair. Uh, di sini kita dapat mengetahui bagaimana pemanfaatan kasein itu oleh manusia. Ada beberapa digunakan sebagai sumber protein dalam makanan itu seperti suplemen protein tadi. Lalu di mana kasein itu digunakan sebagai produk yang kita bahas seperti keju, terus ada yogurt dan susu juga, food product. Lalu untuk aplikasi di industri pun juga ada, itu seperti glue and adhesive, di mana kasein itu digunakan dalam aplikasi seperti pengerjaan kayu dan produk kertas sebagai lem dan perekatnya. Lalu ada pelapis dan cat, coating and paints, di mana kasein itu digunakan dalam pelapis dan cat karena kemampuannya untuk membentuk film yang kuat dan tahan lama. Nah, kasein itu memberikan hasil akhir yang halus dan tahan lama juga di sini. Lalu ada dari segi dari bidang kesehatan dan medis, itu seperti pembalut luka, di mana ini tuh digunakan dalam beberapa jenis pembalut luka karena sifatnya yang biokompatibel tadi dan kemampuannya untuk mempercepat penyembuhan luka. Lalu masih dari bidang medis itu penggunaan nutrisi khusus, di mana kasein itu digunakan dalam formula makanan khusus yang untuk bayi dan orang-orang dengan kebutuhan nutrisi tertentu, karena dapat memberikan protein yang mudah dicerna dan asam amino esensial. Lalu untuk bidang kecantikan itu ada skincare products, di mana kasein itu ditambahkan ke dalam produk perawatan kulit seperti krim dan lotion karena sifatnya yang melembabkan dan menutrisi kulit. Lalu ada produk hair care products, itu produk perawatan rambut. Ini seperti sampo dan conditioner itu untuk memperkuat dan menutrisi rambut.
Hello everyone, my name is Farah Anhatul Hilmi. My name 2210423041. Today I will present to you about the lipid on the cheese. Okay, first, for triglycerides, which make up the majority of the fat in the cheese. The UPAC name will depend on the specific fat acid bound to the glycerol. For example, triglyceride consists of palmitic acid, oleic acid, and stearic acid. Can be named as follows. First, palmitic acid, and the second, oleic acid, and the last, stearic acid. Palmitic acid is hexadecanoic acid, oleic acid, 9-octadec 9-enoic acid, and the last stearic acid, octadecanoic acid. And next, if we consider triglyceride composed of these three fatty acids, their unit name could be 1-palmitol, 2-olei, 3-steroyl, and glycerol. An example of a sterol is cholesterol with the EUPAC name 3-beta-choles 5 and 3-ol. Note, however, cheese contains a variety of triglycerides with varying combination of fatty acids, so no one EUPAC name can summarize all the lipids in the cheese. Apart from triglyceride, there are also phospholipid and sterol. An example of phospholipid in the cheese is lecithin, now as 1,2-deacylglycerol 3-phospholipid. And next, chemical structure of lipid biomolecule. And next, chemical structure of lipid biomolecule in the cheese. First, triglyceride. Triglycerides are the primary form of fat in the cheese. They are ester derived from glycerol and 3 fatty acids. The structure of a triglyceride molecule can be generalized as first glycerol backbone, a 3-carbon molecule with its carbon having a hydroxyl or OH group. Fatty acids, long hydrocarbon chains with a carboxyl group or COOH at one end. Its hydroxyl group on the glycerol molecule reacts with the carboxyl group of fatty acid to form an ester bond, resulting in the triglyceride. The fatty acid can be saturated or unsaturated. The example triglyceride is 1-palmitoyl 2-oleoyl 3-stearyl and glycerol. And same what I say before. And then this is the chemical structure. O berikatan dengan ikatan 2 dengan CH, 2OCRI, and CHOCR2 and CH2OCR3, where R1, R2, and R3 are the hydrocarbon chains of the fatty acids. Okay, next. Phospholipid. Phospholipids are a key component of the cell membranes and are also present in the cheese. They have a glycerol backbone and true phospholipids. Phospholipids are a key component of cell membrane and are also present in cheese. They have a glycerol backbone, 2 fatty acid tail, and a phosphor group attached to a polaride group. An example, phosphatidylcholine, a type of the lecithin. First, glycerin backbone, and two fatty acids, and 3 phosphate group, and 4 glass choline group. Chemical structure. O berikatan with CH2OCR1, CHOCR2, CH2O, CH2, N plus CH33, and O-, where R1 and R2 are the hydrocarbon chains of the fatty acids. Next, sterols. Sterols are a subgroup of steroid and an important class of organic molecules. Cholesterol is the most common sterol in cheese. Cholesterol. First, steroid nucleus. 4 in the hydrocarbon rings or 3 cyclohexane rings and 1 cyclopentane ring. Hydroxyl group or OH attaches to the first carbon of the amine ring, and the last alkyl side chain attached to the ring. And the chemical structure. A B, C, G, and CH3, CH, CH2, CH3, and CH3. Next, bonds or interaction that form the cheese. The structure on the cheese. First, triglycerides formation. Ester bound triglycerides are formed by esterification, a reaction between the hydroxyl group of glycerol and the carboxyl groups of fatty acid. This reaction produces ester bonds and release water molecules. And glycerol or 3OH groups plus 3 fatty acids and 3 COOH groups uh, become triglycerides plus 3H2O. Structure stabilization. Van der Waals force, the hydrocarbon chains of the fatty acids interact through van der Waals force, a type of dispersion force, which help to stabilize the molecule. And hydrophobic interaction. The nonpolar hydrocarbon tails tend to aggregate, minimizing their exposure to water, thus contribution to the hydrophobic character of triglycerides. And the second, phospholipid formation. First, ester bond similar to triglyceride ester bond formed between the glycerol backbone and the fatty acid chains. And then phosphoester bond, an additional bond formed between the third hydroxyl group of glycerol and the phosphate group, which is further added to a polar heat group. The example, choline. And then structure stabilization. First, hydrophobic interaction. The fatty acid cell or nonpolar agreed together to avoid water, creating a hydrophobic interior in phospholipid bilayers. And hydrophilic interaction. The phosphate group and polar heat group are hydrophilic and interact with water molecules, stabilizing the molecules' orientation and in aqueous environments. And van der Waals force. This force also play a role in the interaction between adjacent fatty acid chain within the membrane. And then the last, sterol. Formation of the sterol. The first, covalent bonds. Sterol like cholesterol are composed of fused structure formed by covalent bonds. Cholesterol has a hydroxyl group attached to the ring and an alkyl side chain attached to the ring. Structure stabilization. Hydrophobic interaction. The hydrocarbon rings and side chain are nonpolar and interact with the hydrophobic interior of lipid bilayers, helping to embed cholesterol within the membrane. And hydrogen bonding. The hydroxyl group can form hydrogen bonds with the polar heat groups of phospholipids or with other water molecules, ensuring cholesterol in the membrane. And the next is composition of monomer. Monomers are constituent units. The first three, glycerides. Monomer are constituent units for glycerol, a 3-carbon molecule with 3 hydroxyl OH groups and fatty acid, long hydrocarbon chain with a carboxyl or COOH group at one end. The Example, glycerol, CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH. And fatty acids, first palmitic acid, hexadecanoic acid is CH3, CH214, COOH. And oleic acid, CH3, CH2, 7CH, ikatan 2 CH, CH2, 7COOH. Stearic acid, CH3, CH2, 16 COOH. And in a triglyceride molecule, its hydroxyl group of glycerol forms an ester bond with the carboxyl group of a fatty acid, resulting in 3 ester link per triglyceride. And phospholipid. Monomers or constituent units. The first glycerol, a 3-carbon molecule with 3 hydroxyl or OH group. Fatty acids, 2 long hydrocarbon chains with carboxyl or COOH groups. Phosphate group, a phosphate PO4 group. Polar heat group and additional polar molecules such as choline, ethanolamine, serine, or inositol attached to the phosphate group. And the example, glycerol, CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH. And fatty acids, palmitic acid, CH3, CH214, COOH, oleic acid, CH3, CH2, 7CH, CH2, 7COOH. And phosphate group PO4 and choline for phosphatidylcholine CH3, 3N plus CH2, CH2OH. And in phospholipid, the first and second hydroxyl groups of glycerol form ester bond with fatty acid, while the third hydroxyl group form a phosphoester bond with the phosphate group. The phosphate group is further linked to the polar heat group. And 3. Sterol. Sterol constituent units for steroid nucleus form fused hydrocarbon rings and hydroxide group attached to the ring, alkyl side chain attached to the ring. Example, cholesterol. For steroid nucleus C27H46O hydroxyl group, OH acid at carbon 3, alkyl side chain CH8H17 added at carbon 17. The structure of cholesterol includes a hydroxyl group at carbon 3 of the ring, which can participate in the hydrocarbon bonding, and an alkene side chain at carbon 17 of the ring, contributing to the hydrophobic interaction within cell membrane. And next, the natural function of lipids for cheese. First, texture and mouthfeel, fat content, creaminess, and meltability. So when we eat the cheese, feel like melting in the softly in the women mouth. And flavor development. Flavor precursors, first fatty acids, 2 aroma compounds, and nutritional value, energy source, first caloric density, and essential fatty acid. And the last, structural integrity. Matrix formation is protein-fat interaction. And the last, utilization of cheese lipid biomolecules by humans. The cheese by utilization by human is nutritional utilization, is energy source, caloric intake, sustained, and energy. So in the if we eat the cheese, we can get the some energy from the lipid on the cheese. Okay. Uh, that's all for me. Next.
Okay, the next topic is carbohydrates that contain in cheese. So cheese contains a wide variety of carbohydrates biomolecules, and each of them, of course, have an official impact names. And some of them, the first one is lactose, also oligosaccharides, polysaccharides, lactic acid, and also pyruvic acid. So the first one is lactose. For lactose itself has a EUPAC name. It for beta D galactopyranosyl, B D-glucopyranose. Yang kedua, oligosaccharides has a EUPAC name. In oligosaccharides, there are two bahan yang ada di oligosaccharides. Yang pertama itu ada galactose. Untuk galactose sendiri, the EUPAC name is alpha or beta di galactopyranose. Untuk glucose, the EUPAC name is alpha beta di glucopyranose. The third one is polysaccharides. For polysaccharide itself, it has a lot of name because it contains a lot of materials. The first one is dextran. For dextran, the EUPAC name is alpha 1,6-D-glucopyranose. For galactan, beta 1,4-D-galactopyranose. Arabinan, beta 1,5L-arabinofuranoside, and glucuronan, beta 1,4-D-glucuronopyranose. The next one is lactic acid. For lactic acid, the EUPAC name is 2-hydroxypropanoic acid. The fifth one is pyruvic acid. The EUPAC name of pyruvic acid is 2-oxopropanoic acid. That is the EUPAC name of each the biomolecules that contains in cheese. Next. Okay, the next topic is chemical structure of carbohydrates biomolecules in cheese. The first one is lactose. For lactose itself, the chemical structure is C12H22O11 dengan IUPAC-nya. For lactose itself, the source is it has in the main sugar in milk from which cheese is made. We know that cheese is made from the milk, and the milk contains a sugar. That's where the lactose came from. Okay, the function of lactose. The main carbohydrates source in cheese before the aging process, the bacteria will break down lactose during fermentation, producing lactic acid, which contributes to flavor and texture. We can see in the picture, there are galactopyranosyl and glucopyranosyl that we know contain in lactose. Okay, next. Okay. The next one is oligosaccharides. For oligosaccharides, the chemical structure is depending on the specific oligosaccharides. They are usually short chains, 2 until 10 units, connect from monosaccharides such as galactose, glucose, and acetylglucosamine. For the source, formed from the breakdown of lactose by enzymes during the cheese aging. The function of oligosaccharides contributes to the development of complex flavors and aromas in cheese. Some oligosaccharides act as probiotics, promoting beneficial gut bacteria. So, oligosaccharides, some of them will act as probiotics that contain in cheese, and they are also affect the flavors and also the aroma. We can see the picture below. We can see the chemical structure from oligosaccharides. Okay, next. The next one is polysaccharides. The chemical structure is same with oligosaccharides depending on the specific polysaccharide. There are long chains, many sugar units formed from various monosaccharides. We can see in the picture, there are long chains, more than one chains for polysaccharides. The source mainly derived from milk lactose or produced by bacteria during fermentation. And the function of polysaccharides plays an important role in the texture and the structure of the cheese. Dextran contributes to elasticity while galactan and arabinan form the cheese matrix. Glucuronan may contribute to viscosity. For the polysaccharides, they have an important role in the cheese, such as the structure of the cheese, and we know that cheese is elastic. If the cheese melt, we can make them into variety shapes. We can bisa ditarik-tarik. So the dextran or the polysaccharides is playing an important role for the elasticity and also the texture of the cheese. Next. The next one is other carbohydrate derived and molecules, such as lactic acid, CH3, CHOH, COOH, and also pyruvic acid, CH3, CO, COO, COO. Jadi untuk lactic acid sendiri, produced by bacteria that ferment lactose during cheese making, and pyruvic acid, intermediate product in lactose metabolism, potentially converted to lactic acid and other compounds. We can see in the left picture is a lactic acid, and in the right picture is a pyruvic acid. Next. Oke, kita masuk ke bonds or interaction that form in the cheese. So, we know that there must be a bond or interactions that happen in the cheese that we discuss now. So, the first bond is glycosidic bond. A glycosidic bond is a type of covalent bond that connects a carbohydrate, or in this case is sugar, to another molecule, which could be another carbohydrate or another molecule such as an alcohol. These bonds play an important role in the formation and structure of various organic molecules, including cheese. The function of glycosidic bonds determine the shape, solubility, and function of oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. They also contribute to the texture of the cheese. So for the glycosidic bond, the important role of this bond is the formation of the cheese, and also the texture and the structure of the molecules in the cheese. The second one is hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond is a weak but important intermolecular interaction that occurs between a partially positively charged by hydrogen oxygen on one molecule and electronegative atom. These bonds play an important role in determining the texture, flavor, and overall structure of the cheese. The third one is van der Waals bond. The van der Waals bond, also known as van der Waals force, are weak attractive interaction between molecules caused by fluctuations in electron distribution. These bonds play an important role in determining physical properties. Van der Waals bonds affect the release of aroma in cheese. Van der Waals bond assists in protein aggregation and fat micelle formation, which contribute to the internal structure of the cheese. So van der Waals bond itself affect the aroma and also have an important role in the internal structure of the cheese. Next. The fourth one is ionic bond. An ionic bond is a bond that involves the transfer of electron from one to another, resulting in oppositely charged ions that attract each other. Ionic bonds play a role in the formation of cheese structure, especially in processed cheese containing stabilizing salts. These carbohydrates do not work in isolation, but intertwine and interact with each other, creating a complex and dynamic structure. The type and strength of carbohydrate bonds may depend on the type of the cheese, manufacturing process, and other factors. Next. The next one is composition of monomers or constituent units. In the carbohydrates in cheese consist of a wide variety of monomers and building blocks. But in this case, we're gonna discuss about two composition of monomers. The first one, two main groups. The first one is monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are simple sugars, cannot be further hydrolyzed into small sugars, constitute the basic building blocks of more complex carbohydrate. The main monosaccharides found in cheese include glucose, galactose, and also fructose. Next. The second one is oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides are short chains of 2 to 10 monosaccharides connect through glycosidic bonds. Some of the common oligosaccharides found in cheese include lactulose, galacto-oligosaccharides or GOS, and also sialo-oligosaccharides. That is an oligosaccharides containing sialic acid, providing flavor and contributing to antibacterial properties. Next. So we already discussed a lot of the carbohydrates biomolecules in cheese. So what is the function of these carbohydrates for the cheese itself? The first one is structural integrity and elasticity. In this natural function, polysaccharides is gonna play an important role. such as dextran, galactan, ariginan, and glucuronan, form a network, provide structural integrity and elasticity for the cheese. The second one is water retention and moisture balance. Polysaccharides also play an important role here, have water binding properties, helping to retain moisture in cheese. Contributes to the cheese texture, preventing it becoming dry and crumbly. The third one is prebiotic effect and gut health. Some oligosaccharides in cheese will act as prebiotics, promoting the growth of beneficial gut bacteria. These bacteria contribute to a healthy digestive system and may offer immune boosting effects. The fourth one is acidification and preservation. In acidification and preservation, lactic acid will play an important role. Lactic acid that is produced by bacteria during the fermentation will responsible for the tangy, sour flavor characteristic of the cheese. It also contributes to the cheese acidicity, which plays a role in preservation. The fifth one is flavor and aroma development. Oligosaccharides formed from the breakdown of lactose contribute to the development of complex flavors and aroma in cheese. They can impart a sweet, nutty, and caramel-like notes, enhancing the sensory experience. That's all from me, and that's the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. We'll be back to the moderator. Thank you.
That's from us. Thank you for participation. And we end by salam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam.